Notre Dame is built on faith, tradition, and quads.
Quads are wide open spaces where friends connect, relax, and walk together.
That's the spirit of the Pod Quad Show.
Two Holy Cross priests,
Good friends,
great guests,
talking about life.
What's up, everybody? I'm Father Pete McCormick.
I'm Father Nate Wills.
And today on the Pod Quad, we're talking with Dr. Kevin McAward, a physician who knows this campus from both sides of the stethoscope. Kevin's journey began right here as a Notre Dame undergraduate before he crossed the Atlantic to the National University of Ireland to earn his medical degree. After years of experience in family and sports medicine, he returned to South Bend to serve as one of our great university physicians. Whether he's on the sidelines as the team doc for the Fighting Irish or mentoring freshmen in the Moreau first-year experience, Dr. McAward is always focused on the health and well-being of our entire student body. We're excited to talk with him about his role as a campus physician, his most important identity as a father of 4 girls, and what it's like to care for a community he's been a part of for decades. Dr. Kevin McAward, welcome to the Pod Quad.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's so good to have you here, man. You've been long awaited. We've been anticipating your arrival for some time.
So this got dropped on me, 5-6 months ago, and I was thinking it was never going to happen. You know, I heard about it, I got excited about it, and then much like, I know. So,
well, your agent is really hard to deal with. Just say that, your agent's very demanding about, the rider.
Yeah. He couldn't find the green M&Ms.
So listen, we're going to hit you with a question that typically we get.
Okay.
Which is, tell us your vocation story. There's oftentimes an overlap here between priests, doctors, and so could you talk a little bit about how it is that you discerned this call to serve?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I totally agree with you that it's a vocation.
Yeah.
And from probably the age of 5, before the age of 5, I liked going to the doctor. I was a weird kid who didn't mind getting shots, and I would always like to look at the stethoscope or the ear thing, and I loved it. And so I made a bet with my cousin on a napkin with crayon when I was 5 years old, and I said, I'm going to be a doctor.
No way.
And that cousin kept that. And when I got into medical school, she took out a $10 bill, ripped it in half, and said, "You're halfway there." And I kept that half $10 bill in my wallet through all of med school.
No way.
I don't think I ever got the other 10, or the other half. But that was how I got I just liked. There was a TV show called Emergency, not ER, but long ago prior to that I kind of fell in love with all the machines and stuff. And then I realized I kind of like people. Yeah. And one intimate way to take care of people was to kind of be part of their lives, was to be their doctor. And so, the enjoyment of the idea of medicine and the enjoyment of people, it fit. Yeah. But then I love sports.
Yeah.
And so I went from doing a family medicine residency, which I love, where I was able to take care of 80-year-olds and babies, deliver babies. Enjoy that tremendously, but I really knew that I was serving people best when I was taking care of 18 to, really preteen through 25.
Yeah.
And so I got really lucky. About 7 years into practice, the person who was the director of the health center here came up to me and said, "Hey, a doc just left. Would you ever think about being a doc on campus?"
Whoa.
And I said, no, I didn't think that was what I wanted to do. I was a little nervous about doing it at that stage. There was some excitement. I mean, I love this place. I went here. I love this place. But I was nervous. So the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, no, this is what I have to do. But I didn't realize it was my vocation until I got here. And I started in the exam room, on the field, doing really cool things with my patients. And that was oh wait, I'm making a difference in these kids at a time in their life where they are so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's where they're not impressionable, but where they are becoming adults, where they are kind of forming who they're going to be. Yeah. And you guys get the same thing. You guys get to inform that spiritual side. I get to inform kind of their life side from a medical and often emotional kind of piece, and it is great. Like I go to work every day loving what I do, thinking I have the best job in the world.
That's awesome.
You might not recall this, but in a demonstration of absolute athleticism, I myself one day turned squarely into my door.
Oh, I remember this clearly.
And I was living in Stanford Hall, and I had a gusher. I was like,
Remember what day it was?
yes, it was Holy Thursday.
And what were you doing right after that happened?
I was going to Mass.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I had a gusher, and I had a big issue. So I went over because Stanford was so close, and Doc was there. And he stitched me up, man.
I don't think I even stitched it. I think I put staples in it.
Oh!
Yeah. I think it was
I could have
good.
done that for you.
I think it was good. Yeah, you should. It's not hard. My job is not hard.
Whatever. But I think about that all the time in terms of your kindness. Like I walked in, you're like, yeah, come with me. And you just took care of it.
I think about it every time I'm in my laundry room and my kids leave the cabinets open. So,
So anyways, but seriously, for now, all Podquad Nation knows I'm forever grateful.
you're welcome.
That's awesome. Doc, you talked about working with athletics
Yeah.
and your passion for that. It's such a great thing to see you just come alive on the sidelines and across a lot of different sports. How has that work in athletics shaped your personal and professional view of Notre Dame athletics?
Yeah, I'm super lucky. I have been working with, for, I don't know, the last 12 years or so, I've had 10 sports that I work with, and a large chunk of those I'm on the sidelines. So it's fun for me. You know, there's a lot of enjoyment personally, but I've learned about the athletes, and I've learned about athletics in general. So first about the athletes, you know, these kids are so resilient. Both of you, I know, spend time with you know, basketball and football. They're so resilient, and a lot of times I think there's a perception that athletes are overly catered to, and they're given this, they're given that, that the normal student doesn't get. What our athletes often go through is so challenging between the time that they have to spend in film, in the weight room, in rehab. And they're often dealing with injury and dealing with adversity. They are resilient, and I've been really impressed with that. And I think we have a special group of athletes at Notre Dame too. But I've also been, one thing that struck me very early on in my time here, and as a student, I appreciated these athletes, but I was like, oh my gosh, they're kind of like up here, right? They're at a level that I maybe someday will be lucky enough to achieve. Working here, you get to realize, yes, they're amazing on the court, on the field, on the fencing strip, but they are first and foremost human. And they have the same struggles that each and every one of us and one of our students has. And the ability to kind of walk through their struggles, whether it's academic, relational, mono, whatever it is, it's really neat to see them as not just a superstar that's going to be drafted in the NHL draft. It's somebody who's just a human. So that's been neat. And then from an athletics standpoint, gosh, we are lucky, right? I've seen a bunch of athletic directors come through. Pete's doing an amazing job, and what a horrible time to be doing it in college athletics. But I feel like the experience that we give our athletes, you know, I'm lucky enough, much like you guys in the confessional, I'm lucky enough to have very frank conversations that are confidential. These kids, for the most part, appreciate every opportunity that Notre Dame gives them. And I think we do a really good job from a support standpoint. I've noticed this the most with transfer students. You know, now that we have this big portal, you get these kids coming in from other schools, and they are blown away by our facilities or the meals or just the support, again, whether it's academic or emotional that they get. So it makes me feel good about Notre Dame athletics in a time of college athletic turmoil.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, I can say I witnessed firsthand your ability to connect. And what I love about what you just said there is, and I think Nate will agree with this, the key to being a good chaplain, good doctor, is to connect with people on the human level.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so often these student athletes are seen for what they can do, and as opposed to being seen for who they are.
Yeah.
And there's a real beauty in that. Speaking of seeing people for who they are, you also, because you're a jack of all trades here, you teach in the Moreau First Year Experience course, which is, those of you who are not familiar with this, it's a course specifically for first-year students in the first semester. So you're really catching them when they're asking some really big questions about who am I and where am I going with life. And so could you talk a little bit about what it is that you found to be true about these students, maybe the questions that they're asking or the things that they're thinking about?
Yeah. I love teaching this class. And for me, I've done it for 8 years now, and to be having different interaction other than being their doctor has been super neat.
Yeah.
The course went through, as you guys know, a big change this year, and I was a bit intimidated by that because it's a little more academic, and I don't consider myself a professor. That's my wife. I'm just the dumb doctor, and so I was worried about my ability to do this. And the people that write this course are very smart, and they do a good job, and they pick pretty intense readings.
Shout out to our buddy Bill Madison.
Yeah.
Redesigned the course. It was pretty awesome. Sorry.
And so, but they separated into sections. And one of the sections that I loved this year, because I think it's the message that these guys and ladies need to hear, is that you are beloved, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is something that I don't think, there's so much stuff in our mainstream media, but people don't talk about you being loved. You know, you're being loved unconditionally by your parents, but even more so by God. And I think having these kids hear this at this time of massive transition in their life, when they're going through their first episodes of adversity, whether it's a failed test, a failed relationship, whatever it is, I think coming back to you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you, which I've always wanted to say on a television camera. But you know, like hearing that at this time, it can be transformational. And so while I was a skeptic about the Moreau curriculum, because again, I didn't think I was smart enough to teach it, that was something that I really resonated with. And so it has been such a blessing for me to be able to teach that course.
Yeah. When you think about, like, what's one of your favorite, when I was teaching Moreau back in the day, I had little tricks that I used to do to try to, like, get them to wake up. Because as it turns out, sometimes they're feeling the vibe that you're laying down, and sometimes they aren't. Is there any kind of, like, oh my gosh, we absolutely need an energy pickup right now, so I'm going to use this skill?
You know, I think I try and get the energy going. You know, a lot of us will do, you know, tell us what your highs and lows were for the week. I mean, I think a lot of it is what the teacher brings to the class in general. And I tend to be higher energy. You tend to be higher energy. You haven't taught this yet.
No, I have not.
Bill, you need to, you know, get Father Nate to do this. But like, I bring a lot of energy. So thankfully, you don't get too many lulls. But like, I start my class, every class, one thing I want them to do is get to know each other. So there's 19 kids in the class. They need to know each other's names, and they need to know stuff about these people. So I make each kid at least once during the semester do a 2 to 3 minute biography followed by questions. And the students ask the questions. And the questions are encouraged to not be smart questions. They're supposed to be dumb and silly and fun, where you get people laughing. So, you know, what's your favorite $5 meal deal? Or if you had this was a true question I had this past year. If you had the rest of the time between now and the next Olympics, what sport could you train for and not finish last in?
Wow.
I thought that was an amazing question.
It's a great question.
It's got to be curling. Anyone can be a curler.
Oh, wow.
How hard is that?
Great. Good. Welcome the comments to Father Pete from our curling pros out there.
I think archery was said, which I totally disagree with. I know. I know.
Anyways, you do an amazing job.
Yeah, I love that course. So it's been fun.
So, okay, besides being a physician, a Notre Dame alum, a husband to an incredible professor, scholar, attorney.
Yes.
You're also a dad to 4 girls. How has being a girl dad shaped your life? And can you tell us a little bit about going to the Taylor Swift concert with your girls?
Okay. So, Kate McAward, born, you baptized her, born October 12th, 2008. A girl comes out. We didn't know beforehand. I'm like, oh my gosh, a girl. What am I going to do with a girl? Like, this was all scary to me. And then September 10th, 2010, here comes Caroline Mary. And then followed by Mary Elizabeth. We call her Molly. And then Bridget Marie. And like, we didn't even question it when Bridget was coming. We're like, it has to be a girl. Like, I apparently can't produce boys. And you know what? I was intimidated by having girls, and it is awesome. They delight me. They are so different, each and every one of them. There are moments that utterly drive me crazy. Sometimes tears happen and I don't know why, and I have to learn to just be okay with that because I think that's part of the gig. But they have spent a lot of time with me in my job, so therefore they've been on the sidelines of different sports. They have learned new vocabulary from coaches at times, and maybe some players. I know.
Let's pray more.
We need to. We debrief sometimes after games. But they've also developed a love for sports out of that, and so they will sit and watch games with me, and it's been great. I coach them. They got really into sports, so I coach soccer and basketball and volleyball. My oldest is really into dance; she's really good at it, and so I love going to watch them do stuff. Yeah. It's really neat. So I love being a girl dad. Now, being a girl dad in 2000, in what were we in? Probably 2023, maybe. The Eras Tour, 2024. That was a big deal. That was a big deal.
Huge deal.
And my oldest at the time, and still to this day, but at that time, knew everything there was to know about Taylor Swift. Everything. And I liked Taylor Swift music. It seemed fine, but I didn't.
Ears and a heart, don't you?
I didn't understand. Wow, I didn't understand the craze, but poor my kids. They were desperate to go, and my wife tried to be the cool mom, and said, "I'm going to get tickets for Kate, all your friends. I'm going to wait on the Ticketmaster queue.
Good luck.
For 11 tickets." Well, we all know how that worked out. There were no tickets available. Yeah. So Kate McAward doesn't get tickets. Well, all her friends' moms also went on knowing that Jen McAward's not going to get tickets. And so all her friends got tickets. Kate McAward didn't.
Oh, no.
And so Kate handled it great. She was a trooper. But we desperately tried. And, I'm old, so I use Facebook. And so I put it out there on Facebook to say, hey, anybody know anybody that might be getting rid of things? Nothing happened. Chicago went away. We didn't get tickets. There were tears. So my wife decided, we're going to Detroit. And she actually bought absurdly expensive tickets. And within 45 minutes of the absurd tickets, I got a call from a CSC priest who said, hey, I think I got you 5 tickets.
No way.
No way.
What? I mean, CSCs have people everywhere, right? Like they know people.
I don't.
You need to know the people. And let's just say this CSC might have been a Keo rector at some point in his life, in the long line of Keo rectors.
Got it.
And he reached out to a resident who might have been working for a former resident working for the Detroit Lions, and they nailed 5 tickets in great seats, much cheaper than we would have gotten the other tickets in terrible seats.
Oh my gosh.
He got 5 tickets. I have 4 daughters, a wife.
Uh-oh.
But he said, the catch is, I'm going. So my wife got to take our 3 daughters, the 3 oldest, with the priest.
Wow.
So Thankfully,
You didn't get to go.
I didn't get to go, and the youngest didn't get to go. And we went and had a yes day, and we karaoke Taylor Swift songs, and we had a great time. And I have videos of the girls and the former Keo rector singing every song and having a great time. So
That is outstanding.
So me and Bridget didn't get to go. We will go eventually to the next Taylor Swift tour. I have no doubt. But we are going to Bruno Mars in 4 days. So we're pretty in the same spot. So we're going back up to Detroit.
At Ford Field.
At Ford Field.
That's cool. I just want to point out that I am a former rector of Keogh Hall. I did not have access to the Eras tickets just before the social media chatter gets out there.
Yeah, there you go.
But speaking of social media, I want you to know, slightly facetiously, I haven't been to a physician in several years because I have a TikTok doctor. You know, I just, whatever.
I've noticed your skincare is excellent.
Exactly. Whatever he says is
Very
what I do.
complex routine.
So, but I did want to kind of get your thoughts on this. I have gone to a doctor. But I want to get your thoughts on this. There's a lot of people drawing information from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
That's right.
So how do you help folks navigate the particularities of their, I don't know, algorithm preferences that might lead them down a very unique road to think that, hey, zucchinis are going to solve all my problems?
They don't. Right. So this all started. I mean, this has been going on since before social media. The dawn of the internet brought us WebMD, and WebMD was dumb. And so those people coming in, I used to have a field day with that because they often were misdirected. And then more recently, like nowadays, the amount of times the word chat is used in my office visits is incredible. You know, people come in and I have to say it's pretty good. The information that most people come in, like they're good, and we have pretty smart, at least book smart students, and their use of ChatGPT is intelligent, and they often it enhances, I think, my patient visit with them because they ask really intelligent questions, and it kind of pushes me to have really intelligent answers. So I do like that. But TikTok has provided some really interesting trends, mainly in the working out areas, more in the skin, as I mentioned, skincare areas.
I'm glad you noticed.
It glows. I thought it was the incense, but no. So yeah, like TikTok. I also think, shout out to our students, I think they're very intelligent and they have a sense that the majority of these things are not good trends.
Yeah.
And so I don't fight TikTok very much. One of my partners loves to actually post TikTok videos. She's quite good at it. And so I actually asked her, you know, how many people come in referencing TikTok? Very few. So that's good news for our patient population. But that doesn't mean there aren't myths out there that we have to dispel all the time. The biggest, like a lot of people think that every time the wind blows, they get a concussion. You know, if they get tapped in the head, they get a concussion. So we do a lot of that. No, it doesn't work that way. Concussion is something we take super seriously, but you know, a lot of times people are better than they think they are. But the one that I probably see more than any of them, it's not very exciting. So do you guys get your flu shots?
Heck yeah.
Mostly.
Oh.
I'm pretty good at it.
Is it because the flu shot gives you the flu?
No.
Good, because that's what a ton of people think in my office. And like, oh, I got the flu shot, it gives me the flu every time. And so it does not. It does not. So get your flu shots, you especially. And you do every time. So I knew you were smarter than him.
Finally, someone's recognized it. All these years, Nate, I've been coming for you.
That's awesome. So, Doc, you talked about, seeing students, and, Notre Dame is a high-performance, high-pressure environment for both student athletes and academically and all these things. And you see the physical health of our students, but you also see the whole person here. What do you see as the challenge, maybe the hidden challenges of young people today, that things that wouldn't show up on an X-ray?
Yeah. This is the easiest question you've asked. A lot of times kids will come to my office and they will have a headache, or they will feel palpitations in their heart, or they'll have stomach issues. And when you dig a little deeper, there's something going, like the symptoms just aren't adding up with any particular clinical, medical syndrome. And then you ask, how's school going? How's your boyfriend? What's going on at home? And you find out all the pressures that they're under. And you know, we mentioned it with the athletes earlier. Mental health stuff on a college campus right now is exploding. And so, you know, of course, there's the University Counseling Center, and they do a great job. We see a ton of it as well in University Health. And sometimes it is somebody coming in and saying, I'm depressed or I'm anxious or whatever. But sometimes it's they come in for a medical problem. And as you tease through the weeds, you find that it's more mental health than anything else. And so that's the challenge. And, you know, we started this talking about relationships and how important that is. I try and develop that when, you know, I thought I was going to take this job and it was going to be all sore throats and ankle sprains. And I see a lot of sore throats and ankle sprains. But when I see those, I make a point to try and make it fun, make them see that, okay, I could talk to this guy. And I remember one time I was seeing a kid for, this is 14 years ago, I'm seeing a kid for an upper respiratory infection. And as I'm leaving the door, he's like, hey, doc, can you put your psychiatrist hat on for a second? And so I sat back down and we talked. And that kid and I are still in touch.
Wow.
And so it's if you treat them right and are nice to them and develop a relationship with them, and that first thing, then you can go to these other much bigger issues that are going to be life-changing. You know, and I do think while we have a lot of clinical depression and anxiety, I think we have a lot of kids that need to be mentored, need to be directed, and that's something I thoroughly enjoy doing. So you can't see that on an X-ray.
Yeah, I was thinking there's such a neat parallel. We started talking about vocation, right? But there's such a cool parallel between the work that you do and some of the work that we do in terms of being a trusted person in someone's life, right? If you open that door, people will walk through it. They will, you know, open up in a beautiful way because they know that you're a trusted person. And I mean, God bless you. I think one of the reasons people do open up to you is because you're a really good person and you give off a trustworthy vibe. And I think that's a huge credit to you, Doc.
Well, thanks.
And I think while we're on the topic too, really, in all seriousness, right? If people that are struggling with mental health should seek out the help that they deserve.
100%.
And because there's people who are willing and desire to help.
Who are excited about helping.
Yes, and have the skills requisite to be able to like alleviate some of the burden that people are feeling. So it's just awesome what you and the team are doing to be able to walk alongside students, and it's really life-changing in so many ways.
It's hard when kids come in to talk about mental health for the first time, you know, and I have a pretty nice office, so I'm able to bring them into my actual office, and we don't sit in a clinical exam room. We sit down and I applaud them. That's usually the first thing I do is I applaud them for coming because I know it takes guts to come in and show someone that you don't know very well your warts. And so I find that most students are pretty receptive to that, and then they're open and the relationship just goes from there. And frankly, once the relationship's going, they know they have somebody, and they often organically get better. You know, it's neat.
That's awesome.
So we're going to bring it home on this.
Okay.
There's a tradition within the Pod Quad that we make sure that we gather as much wisdom as we possibly can before our guest rolls out the door.
Okay.
So
I don't know that I have any left.
Oh, you got some. I believe it. What advice would you offer to Pod Quad Nation for them to think about today?
Okay. So I got two. One is quick. We were on a whitewater rafting trip in Colorado as a family.
That's cool.
And Wyatt, he called it Wyatt water rafting. Wyatt was our guide. And Wyatt said, hydrate or dihydrate. And so hydrate or dihydrate is your first piece of advice.
you go. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
Cheers,
Everyone,
cheers.
cheers.
We could have done that in the middle, and then I wouldn't have been quite as parched as I am right now. And second, when I was a first-year resident, as you probably know, residency is tough. And I think I was given some bad vibes. I was really tired and cranky and more tired, right? And I had a medicine chief. He was in charge of the medicine service. We were on the hardest inpatient service. And he pulled me aside and had a talk with me and basically said, I know this is hard. I understand that this is hard. And you're allowed to feel that this is hard. But he reminded me that what I'm doing is what I've worked so hard to do and what I love to do. And that what I'm doing is, even though it's hard, the people that I'm giving service to are in a worse position than I am. And it made me much more thankful for what I do. And it made me try and bring happiness to each day that I work. You're going to have great days, you're going to have bad days. But you have a choice of how you handle those days. And that's not to say you can't be upset about something. That's to say, like, you can choose how much that upsetment gets to you. And so just try and find a moment in every day to enjoy. And I think that's the key to success.
Dr. Kevin McAward, thanks so much for joining us on the pod, man. You are an absolute gift, not only to Nate and I, but also to this campus.
Well, thank you. Great being here. Loved it. Had a blast.
You're the man.
Here we go with the last lap, looking back at our conversation and talking about what struck us. So, Dr. Kevin McAward, what a guy.
Man, first of all, just he's got so many insights, but also like his capacity to meet people in a variety of different spots, right? You think about whether this be in the playing field, whether this be in the doctor's office, whether this be in the classroom, as a father, as a husband. Good Lord.
Yeah.
He's just so talented in so many ways.
It's awesome. So what struck me about the conversation was really, he was able to think about the Moreau whole experience, right? And to call out sort of a meta-narrative in that whole course, which he said was to help students know that they're beloved, right? And I think that's just so important. I think I often come back to this in homilies with our student athletes, with our students in the dorm. I think there can be a mentality and a feeling among people that, like, I don't have enough, or I'm not loved, or I've got to prove it, I've got to earn it, right? And to give students that feeling and that sense, the reality that God loves you and that you are loved and that you are cared for, and that before anything and after anything, you're a beloved child of God. I think it's so important because it allows you the freedom to live out of a sense of abundance, not a sense of scarcity, about the love that you have in your life. And that opens you up to loving others, to receiving the love of God. To be and reflecting that love to other people too. I think about the loaves and the fishes, that miracle, right? Jesus is teaching his disciples that there's not just enough, there's an abundance, right? And he has 12 baskets left. And it was so awesome. I was talking to my friend Sarah Perkins the other day, and she said her son, Joseph, pointed out, there's one basket for each apostle. And I thought, like, it was a teaching moment for Christ to say, there's more than enough, and each one of you are holding abundance. Live out of that abundance.
Man, we could just stop the last lap right there. As you were talking, I keep thinking about that old line, comparison is the thief of joy. That so often we spend our time like, well, I'm not as good as Nate, or I'm not as good as whomever, and so as a result, I guess I got nothing to offer. Say more about not as good as. But what I loved about what Doc was saying is the vehicle, and all of us can do this. The way in which we're uniquely situated in the spots that we're in. You don't have to be a priest or a doctor to be an evangelist of the gospel, that every place is in fact a sacred space. And so how do we use those moments of encounter to build trust, to deepen a sense of love and affection for the other person, and then allow to the point you're making, the God-given gifts and talents to be shared freely. And so to me, I just think he's a prime example, and I think you and I can attest to this fact that across this campus, we see examples of this in different ways, and all of us in our communities, if we begin to pay attention to it, really is a powerful and frankly inspiring reality for us all. So, I think it's a great way for us to bring this season to a close, and I just want to say before we finish this up that Nate, it's been awesome being on season 2 with you.
What a pleasure. What a joy. We're so grateful to all of our listeners and watchers beyond our moms. Thank you.
Thank
to
you.
Our moms.
We're expanding.
But grateful for all of you for joining us here on the Pod Quad. And that's a wrap for season 2. We'll see you on the quad.